buddy Shellitronnn here. You can call me Shells, and I'm back. Gotta give with a brand new video, and I'm gonna keep it a Bowberry biscuit. What I'm about to say in this video is probably gonna be very unpopular, but I think it's very important to say because this is the most impactful thing that is going to happen for this team in this offseason, and that is very clearly to most Panthers fans, what is the team going to do? The team meaning our new GM, Scotty Fitterer. What is he going to do about the two players who are going to be free agents this offseason? I'm talking about Taylor Moton, our right tackle, and Curtis Samuel, our wide receiver. There is a lot of questions surrounding both these dudes because they are both very obviously very valuable players at their positions, and this is a team that's in a state of transition but still needs some kind of sense of continuity and consistency, and these guys, Curtis Samuel and Taylor Moton, are big, huge factors on this team. Now, Taylor Moton, we'll start with him because he is very obviously one of the best tackles in the NFL, not just one of the best right tackles, one of the best O-linemen, I think, in the entire National Football League. Is he one of the top 5? Probably not. But if you say top 10-ish, you might have to start talking about Taylor Moton right there. And especially when we talk about right tackles, top 5 right tackles, I 100% believe it. Taylor Moton is going to be getting his money one way or another this offseason. And the question is, can the Panthers keep him? Now, I think a lot of Panthers fans might want to blame Marty Hurney for why we weren't able to get Taylor Moton signed earlier. Now, me personally, I don't blame Marty Hurney at all because I understand what position that Taylor Moton's in. He understands that if he could have gotten through this season healthy, and he did, there was going to be a huge bidding war on him in the offseason. He knew if he could get to January and then March, when free agency officially opens, people will be jumping at his door to throw the bag at him. He wanted to maximize his earning potential, and I got no problem with that. And like I mentioned in another video, Taylor Moton is valued on the open market at a 5-year, $73.8 million deal, which comes out to about a $14.7 million cap hit for each of those 5 years. Taylor Moton is most certainly worth that. You might be able to say he's probably worth a little more, but with it being a 5-year deal, you're able to spread that money out a little better, and I think he will probably be able to get that. It might be a 4-year deal with a 5th-year option, but the money still works out the same, and the Panthers got to do everything they can to convince him that him making that amount of money here in Charlotte is worth more than him going to a different team. And you saw him try to convince him all year. All season long, they kept giving Taylor Moton the ball to spike after every single offensive touchdown. They're trying to say, look, bro, the culture's going to be all for you, my brother. It's going to be all for you. You saw how he was treating you when he was making only $1 million. When you're making $14, $15 million a year, it's only going to get better. I'm sure there's a lot of perks on the back end for Taylor Moton as well. But this team definitely needs him because in this offseason, the only 2 players whose contract are not up on the O-line is Matt Paradis and Dennis Daly, the former 6th-round pick. I think it was, 2 years ago at this point. And Dennis Daly's been hurt and out. And when he's been in, he ain't been that great. Matt Paradis had a whole year of him being bad that was overshadowed by other parts of the O-line being horrible. Look, we understand this O-line absolutely needs Taylor Moton. And what's real tough is when you realize it's going to be very hard to convince Taylor Moton to stay in Carolina, a team in transition without a quarterback and with a very weak O-line and very young members of the defense to stay here when there's other teams that are going to need O-linemen that are already in position or at least in better position to make a move for a Super Bowl run sooner than this Panthers squad. And I think we can make it, but it's going to take at least another 2 years after, it can be 2021, 2022. I think 2023 is the first year we can make a serious push for the Super Bowl. I don't mean a playoff run. We win a game in the playoffs. I mean an actual Super Bowl run. We don't even have a quarterback right now. And it's going to be a coin flip at best to see whether or not we pick the right guy. Picking at number 8, we're not getting a guy who is seen to be a surefire pick. And Taylor ain't a stupid dude. I'm sure he sees that and knows that as well. So the only way the Panthers can really guarantee they keep Taylor Moton for this season is probably to go ahead and franchise tag him. And the franchise tag is tough because it almost always gives bad blood between the team and the player. Taylor Moton wants a long-term deal, so if he does get hurt, he has insurance. The team is only going to give him a 1-year deal on that franchise tag. And even though it is going to be the average of the top 5 players at the position, which comes out to be like $20 million if you average out the top 5 O linemen, I won't lie to you when it comes to the franchise tag. I don't know if it's the top 5 O linemen at a specific position, because Taylor played right tackle, he played some left tackle before, he's played other spots. Is it all O linemen or is it at right tackle specifically? I don't know how that works for O linemen. Maybe one of y'all can let me know. Players do not like the franchise tag. Players do not like the franchise tag, and I will be very surprised if he decided to stay here any longer after that. So it's a weird situation where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Maybe you can rent him for an extra year. It's going to cost you 20 mil, but at least you got Taylor Moton. So it's going to be real tough there. You have to convince him to stay and not go somewhere else with better, faster chances at getting a ring in the nearer future. And that's before you even get to Curtis Samuel. Look, I like Kurt Cole. He's very talented. He can do a lot of things. He's real versatile. But like I said months and months ago, the team should have traded him before the deadline because you could have gotten at least a 3rd round pick for Curtis Samuel then. At best, if Kurt Cole walks now, the very best you can get is probably a 4th round comp pick. Maybe a 4th round comp pick. He's not going to make enough money this offseason to get a 3rd round comp pick for him. You are not going to ever get the same value that you would have if you traded Curtis Samuel in the middle of the season. That was a very unpopular opinion back then. Turned out to be true. I got called a hater. People told me I didn't know how football works. People told me that I didn't know what Curtis Samuel brings to the team. I'm going to tell you right now, NFL football is not only played on the field. The NFL is also played in the front offices and inside of a cap. It was going to be very hard to sign Curtis Samuel this year, a guy who is, at best, the team's 4th receiving option. Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, a healthy Christian McCaffrey are all going to get more receptions, more touches than Curtis Samuel, even though he doubled up on his rush attempts. This season, he had 41 rush attempts for 200 yards. He's very versatile, but at best, he is the 4th option on this team. At the absolute best, it was never going to be worth keeping him for the back end of this season, and we're probably going to see him walk away for nothing. And according to Over the Cap, his open market value is a 4-year, $47.9 million deal. That's about $12 million a season. You can't pay $12 million for your 4th option when you have no O-line. You're not even sure about your right tackle. Your secondary needs help. Your front 7 needs help in numerous positions. A lot of guys who are young, but not quite there yet. You don't even have a quarterback yet. And you're worried about $12 million for your 4th option? What are you going to say, bro? What is it? What can you really say about it? It's tough. Curtis is a very good, versatile player. But you should have traded him. Because now, at best, you might get a 4th round comp pick for him. You really can't keep him. And even if the team saves money by not being able to keep Taylor Moton, you can't spend $12 million on Curtis Samuel. You just can't do it. That's a bad deal. If you don't have Taylor Moton, go ahead and cut all your losses. Keep that money in your back pocket so you can make more moves. This is a very deep draft for receivers. There are going to be some round 2, round 3 wide receivers who can be good 4th options. Don't forget about Omar Bayless. Omar Bayless is a good receiver. I definitely believe in him. Not the same kind of guy as Curtis Samuel, not the same kind of responsibilities, but the way I see it is, in this offseason, you prioritize keeping Taylor Moton, even if it means you got to go ahead and go to the franchise tag, which I hate. I hate that more than kicking. But if you got to franchise tag him, you got to franchise tag him. But even if you can't keep Taylor Moton, I say if you can't keep Taylor, don't get either one of them. And if you can keep Taylor, you really can't afford Curtis Samuel anyway. This is why you should have traded Curtis Samuel before the deadline. And now Taylor Moton is going to be a very, very, very hard player to keep. I don't know if he stays long term if you franchise tag him this year. I just don't see him being cool with that. That's how I feel about it, man. What are your thoughts on Taylor Moton? Keeping him? What is he worth? Should we franchise tag him? What about Curtis Samuel? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. And you already know what to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.